This is Ganesh Natesan, founder and CEO of MG Health Tech Incorporation. Today we are going to look at a market survey, right, or a market trends by markets and markets. Thanks to them, this is absolutely a detailed report, right? It is publicly accessible. Uh, when we look at AI in healthcare, it's growing at 49.1 percentage between 2024 to 2030. 49 percentage, it is it is an incredible growth, which means there is going to be a lot of investment. At the same time, there is going to be a lot of new devices or new technologies or new use cases that is going to be implemented by using artificial intelligence in the healthcare market. So this report, if you look at it, this talk about the drivers, the constraints, the trends, and various subsectors, and also the geography, right? And some of the challenges and opportunities. 49.1 percentage COGR year over year is an amazing growth. If you look at it, why I say it's an amazing growth or it's huge is like between 2023 to 2024. If you look at it, right, the trend among North America, Latin, European, Middle East, and Africa, it's not so much, right? By the time between 2024, we are somewhere around 2025, right? By the time between now and the next 5 years in 2020 2030, there is a growth in each market: North America, Europe, Middle East, and even Asia Pacific. If you look at it, it's almost sharing the same level of percentage, right? So what are the reason for exponential growth? It's a data volume, exponential growth in the data volume and the complexity due to surging adoption of digital technologies. There are more biomarkers being collected by wearable devices such as Apple Watch, and there are other devices which are FDA cleared devices. And there is a significant cost pressure, right, in the healthcare service providers space, meaning by the time to serve a patient, right, there are certain diagnostic procedure needs to be done, and there are certain preventive measurements should be taken, right? The doctors to patients ratio, when you consider all of that, year over year, I think the healthcare cost is always increasing. By leveraging AI, by building a collective intelligence, be it in the diagnostic phase or be it in the addressing a certain chronic diseases phase, addressing meaning coming up with the new drugs or giving a certain medications, right? By leveraging AI, the efficiency can be gained much further, right? Much more compared to a conventional technologies, right? Okay, what are the challenges or restraints? Reluctance among medical practitioners to adapt AI technologies, and shortage of skilled AI professionals handling AI powered solutions. It does make sense, right? If I'm a doctor, I've been practicing it for 10, 20 years. The way I look at it, I trust more the conventional technologies, right? Conventional measurements, even checking the pulse. I would rather look at my watch and look at the pulse, instead of using a pulse oximeter or some sort of a device, right? um, so it all makes sense. Those are the things as restraints or constraints. The other thing is, yeah, the technology is there, use case is there, the idea is there, In there are widely spoken in the conferences, but when it comes to practical solutions, are there out there in the market? Probably not. Probably not as much as we expect. So that is why, there is going to be some growth, because there's going to be more fund allocated, more resources allocated in this space. Okay, let's look at this a little bit deeper. The key sectors driving AI adoption in healthcare. The first one is drug discovery and development. AI algorithms can analyze vast data sets of biomedical and chemical information to identify potential drug candidates and predict their efficiency and safety, or efficacy and safety. If you look at, say, if we wanted to do a drug discovery for a particular issue, right, a medication, if I do it manually, it takes about 6 months. So by the time I consistently doing and understanding the patterns and the consequences, then I need to do it again another 6 months. Or if we have to have like multiple teams working on multiple angles to come up with the right algorithm, right, or right answer. Instead, if you leverage AI or machine learning algorithms, so it's going to take these considerations, run these algorithms, and come up with the best possible solutions, or with a certain point of accuracy that, okay, if we go with this approach, this is going to yield a better result. Then taking that, still we need to, as a pharmaceutical company, has to perform all these tests and to prove where we gain efficiency is that instead of testing 10 times or 100 times, we narrow down the scope to 2 or 3 times and test it thoroughly to make the results better with the higher accuracy. I think that's one space. The second one is the medical imaging. Medical imaging, probably anyone can guess, right? If there is x-ray or a CT scan or MRIs, it's a human or radiologist, right? They look at the image, they look at the video, and they say if there is something wrong. Say for example, if there is a fracture, they look at the image and they say whether it is a hairline fracture or if something severe. It's very obvious, right? It is just image processing. Now if you go to an emergency care, ER, by the time the patient admitted it, they are in the queue to take that x-ray. After that, it is being sent to the radiologist. Either the radiologist sit within that ER, or the radiologist can serve 3 or 4 ERs, right? So that image is being sent to the external vendor, or the radiologist department, and it takes a while because that radiologist look at like multiple things, in the in queue, and it come back to the ER facility with the instruction to say this is okay, normal, or this is something severe where we need a higher medical attention. That manual image processing can be done by leveraging machine learning algorithms. After all, the program can easily look at even the minute changes by comparing what is normal, what is abnormal. By training, um, by training the algorithm that these are all the conditions and these are all the normal image processing, and whereas what are abnormals, what is the level of percentage accuracy that you can say and predict that this is abnormal. So there is a lot of efficiency, or even accuracy and speed, because the moment you upload the image, it will it will process immediately within few minutes and come back the results, get the results to you, right? That's much much faster than sending it and somebody manually looking at it taking like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, because there is a quality assurance part of it, right? So no one wants to do like misdiagnosis. So whereas an image processing machine, or a component, or a software that looked at like thousands of images, that's been trained with thousands of images, it can predict much faster with much more accuracy. Then the other component is personalized medicine. AI can analyze individual patients' data, including genetic information, lifestyle, medical history, and to tailor the treatment plans and predict individual responses to therapies. What does that mean? So if I'm a doctor and if somebody comes and say they have certain issues, right, or stomach pain, that can that can be a cause of like many things, right? Then I have to look into their medical history or their genetic information and so on. So and I have to process it. It needs time, right? It needs a lot of time for me to come up with an answer, and what kind of medications I can offer for that particular individual. But whereas when we give all these information to a system, to an artificial intelligence or a machine learning application, it can process these data much faster, right? It can take like thousands of data points in multiple angles and compare it with the studies of like multiple medical journals and give the results with these three or four options. After all, doctor every doctor has a certain method, to or a certain pattern of diagnosing. So for these conditions, is this right? And if not, this is, or if this is not correct, or if this is correct, then you go into the steps. It's almost like an algorithm, right? It almost like pattern. The computer can run these algorithms or the patterns with much more efficiency and look at multiple data points at the same time. So that is the personalized medicine, because it can offer that compute scale. At the end of the day, a computer or an application cannot run by itself. It can run by itself, but still uh, the doctor has to review those outputs to make sure that this is all correct, right? So it's almost like a co-pilot. When when the heavy lift being done by the AI assistant or AI agent, the data, the summary, and the traceability, all that being offered to the doctor look at all these options and say, yeah, it makes sense. So personalized medicine is possible by leveraging the AI. Remote patient monitoring, that's one of the fascinating areas, right? AI enabled wearable devices and telehealth platforms can monitor patients' vital signs and other healthcare data remotely, which we all know, right? Most of the people would be aware of. Say, for example, if I am running a temperature, I have a thermometer. I would know exactly what the temperature is. If it is 98.5, probably it's normal. If it is 100 plus, then there is a high fever, 101, 102, 103. Anything above 103, I need to seek a medical attention. So if I have a wearable device or a medical device to check the moment the data gets sent, right? And either if I have a personal doctor or family doctor, or I can schedule an appointment immediately to say that these are my vitals, and based on these, either the doctor can give the prescription over the video call, right, or can set up an appointment to go visit them. So the remote patient monitoring becomes like much better by leveraging all these wearable devices, and that is going to be the trend, right? That is going to increase year over year. The more sophisticated environment at home, right, where with the right set of equipments, the more medical attention or offerings can be done through the remote patient monitoring. Then there is a mental health, AI powered chatbots and virtual therapies. I know that is evident. There are so many such things are there right now, and it's going to be there's going to be much more such AI powered chatbots. Meaning, see, if I need to talk to somebody, that person's availability matters, right? If I need to go to a psychiatrist, or I go to general physician, right, to explain what I think through, and explaining my moods, and my, what do you call that, my lifestyle. It takes only 30 minutes or 45 minutes to do it over, over week. But whereas with this AI. Okay, so we looked at all these various possibilities, right? The benefits for customers, it's improved diagnostic accuracy, personalized treatment plans, which is possible these days only for affluent customers, right? They can have personalized doctors. But whereas with the AI, we will be able to offer the tailored plans for individual patient needs, and maximizing the effectiveness, and minimizing the side effects, right? The faster drug discoveries, reduced healthcare cost, obviously, right, with the remote patient monitoring and things like that. The potential product features offered by AI in healthcare, that AI powered diagnostic tools, such as software that analyze medical images, lab results, and other patient data to assist diagnosis. AI driven drug discovery platforms, there's going to be more platform offered, right? And remote patient monitoring systems, the wearable devices and telehealth platforms, and the chatbots, which we talked about it, and predictive analytics dashboard. You know, I'm if somebody is trending, if they have a chronic disease such as like COPD, based on their health conditions and the vitals, they'll be able to see, like, is that COPD progressing from stage 1, 2, 3, 4, from 2 to 3, or two to, or just stays there in 2. They'll be able to track it, right? Am I able to breathe better, compared to when not taking medication, or when I take a medication, am I able to breathe better, right? Is my allergic conditions, is it getting better if I take a certain medications? So I'll be able to record and look at the trend analysis by leveraging the software. The challenges, obviously, in order to train a software, you need a large amount of data. Large meaning, like, literally a multiple scenario, multiple data sets, thousands of data sets, right? If not millions of records, right? In order to bring in the millions of records, we need to collect the data from various people, who have a certain health conditions. When you're collecting, synthesizing, processing these data, we got to make sure that a compliances and the regulations, regulatory requirements are like addressed, such as HIPAA compliance, right? Encrypting the data, de-identifying that particular person, so we can protect the privacy information. The data interoperability, obviously, when it look at EHR, EMR, there are hundreds of them, right? How our systems can interoperate, meaning one healthcare system such as like Epic can interact with another EHR, EMR, which is based out of different architecture, different data sets. So we should be able to bring in all these data integrated, and in order to bring the right data sets. Regulatory hurdles, even if we have a certain AI algorithms, right? It's going to be really hard in order to prove the efficacies and efficiencies. We have to make sure that we have this inclusiveness, right? The ethical considerations. So these are the list of challenges. Obviously, the last but not the least is the trust and acceptance. So the newly graduating physicians, I think they are going to be much more tech savvy. um, and when people who have lot of experience, like 10, 15 years experience, who are so good with the like a conventional technologies or classic methods, it's going to be really hard for them to switch and change a trust certain external decision making body or a system, right, which is purely a computational artificial intelligence machine. By bringing in some of these explainability, traceability, privacy, and information security, and having these FDA regulatory bodies to thoroughly review and approve these mechanisms, I believe that that's going to help. So there's a huge opportunity, right? Between 2024 to 2030, right? It's about like 49 percentage growth a year over year, which is amazing growth, right? The people who are in this space should certainly leverage this opportunity and make the healthcare like more affordable and accurate by leveraging these technologies. I do see that the ecosystem analysis being done with the Nvidia, Siemens Healthcare, GE Healthcare, Philips, all these like government agencies and end users contributed to this. Thank you so much for this markets and markets survey, much appreciated it. And for all these entrepreneurs and the healthcare systems and hospitals and physicians, by understanding the trend, they'll be able to support and serve the society.